Yo, dude, this chick Canon, gotta say, dude, she's out for blood. Yo, just over it, over. She won't stop. Oh, dude. Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss. You just watched my new intro. Soon you get, well, not soon, but eventually you'll watch my new outro. But right now you're watching my review for Strike the Blood episode 10. And this one had a lot of stuff happen, more than last week, so this review is going to be longer than last week's, but it's pretty late, and I want to get this done as quickly as possible. I wanted to get this review out earlier, but it's snowing where I am, and both myself and my roommate and I, we didn't feel like going out in the snow and leaving our room, so we just stayed inside for the rest of the night, and because of that, I never really got the chance to record my reviews, so I had to wait till now. It's like 6:30 in the morning, so I kind of want to go to bed, so I'm going to try and get through this as quickly as possible without leaving out too many, well, no details. I don't want to leave out any details, but I'm still probably going to take like half an hour with this. Jesus Christ. Alright, let's just get started. Um, we find out that Kojo found a place for all those cats. And one of the girls that was there mentions that there was this incident at the monastery, I'm assuming. It was never really explicitly stated, I don't think, but I'm assuming it was at the monastery. There was an incident there, and in that incident, Canon was the only survivor, so it probably involves all the angel business, and, like Magus craft and or possession mask, one of those two. But Natsuki ends up showing up at this point, and she asks Kojo to accompany her that night, which was which was kind of funny because it was unexpected. But it turns out that he ends up going to a festival with her in Astarte, and Kimiragi accompanies them as well because she's his observer. And we actually get to see Astarte's just show emotions for the first time. So that was actually pretty cool. She's actually adorable when she smiles like that. So that was kind of cool. But they end up talking about this mission, which we all heard what Vatler said last week. He said that he wanted Kojo to stay out of it. So clearly Natsuki's not listening. Um, she gave him information about the situation the day before, I guess, the night before, earlier in the day at some point. And we don't know how much information she gave him. We don't know how aware of the situation he is. So we can't really tell for certain if Natsuki is legitimately going against what Vatler suggested. Um, Vatler's concern was with him losing to either the blonde girl or the princess. I don't remember. That last week I thought they were the same person, so which is clearly wrong. But I don't remember if it was the blonde girl specifically or the prince. I think it was the princess. He said that Kojo couldn't be, but as she might be thinking that as long as he doesn't meet up with her, it's fine to involve him in the mission to a certain extent. So it's possible that she's not actually going against Vatler, and she didn't give him all the information about the case. Only she's yeah, you get the picture. But one of the things that we end up learning is that there's this group possession mask or mask possession. It's said both ways. Kojo says possession mask first in quotation marks, but after that it's just known as mask possession. So I'll call it possession mask just because mask possession doesn't sound like a group name. It sounds like verbs, a verb like an action. So I'll just call it possession mask. But we learned that this group possession mask, they were behind the fight that happened last week with the two angels. So what Natsuki wants to do, she wants to catch these two angels. Specifically the one that's been winning, Canon, and her next target, because she's just targeting a bunch of different angels. which we still don't know why exactly. But we can make some guesses. But the point of this festival, this invitation that she gave to Kojo and bring him to this festival, is because this festival was actually just formed as an excuse to have fireworks. And the fireworks are there so that Kojo can use them as cover, so that he can use his familiars and take down these two angels. Okay, so the kind of well thought out plan. They're going out of their way for this. So. Also, on a side note, Himeragi mentions that she couldn't detect their attack a few nights earlier, so they're able to use that to find out that what they're using isn't magic. So not only are they not demons or like special creatures, but they're also not using magic. So they're kind of just out there. We don't know what they're classified with, angels obviously, but we don't know what they're officially classified as. But we do get another confirmation of special, different classes of magic by Natsuki in this. But she ends up warping everyone away. So the angels show up, fireworks start, and she just warps them up to where the angels are fighting. And Himeragi says that they're using our divine possession techniques. I'm not sure if by that she means the Lion King organization's divine possession techniques or Sword Shaman divine possession techniques. I'm assuming it's Lion King organization, and I'm assuming she's talking about Ki Kong, that stuff she used against Christoph Dardos and Eustache Rudolph. But you never know. It might just be something completely. It might just be the whole magic negating thing that that her staff has. Who knows? There's just so much going on in the series, that so many different types of abilities. There are a bunch of different abilities, a bunch of different subtypes of abilities in those abilities, a bunch of different types of creatures, a bunch of different groups, and more keep getting introduced every arc. So there's a lot of potential for the series to last forever, pretty much. But I'm getting off topic now. The angels are fighting, and Himeragi and Natsuki start to fight them, and they actually aren't able to capture them. And so Kojo steps up and he uses Al-Nasolminium, and even that fails. The black-haired girl was able to block it, so she decides to retaliate against them. And then Canon, she protects them. She knocks the black-haired angel down. She's not black. It was like some type of light spear thing. And she gets knocked down to the ground. Canon goes down and she just goes crazy. Okay, my reaction to it was filmed earlier in the day. I had time to do the reaction, but I didn't have time to. I had to leave to go to work like around 10-15 minutes after I finished the episode, so I had time to watch it and do the reaction, but not enough time to record the review. So yeah, right. But she ends up going crazy and just destroying this girl, pretty much destroying this angel. And the black-haired angel does try to fight back a little bit, and she knocks Canon's mask off, which reveals that it is Canon. But that doesn't stop her. She still is just destroying the girl, and then she even bites down onto her and just starts eating her. And I was going to use that as a thumbnail. The picture, the scene. It was right. It was as she was going to like bite down on her. Right before she started to move down. She was like kind of a little bit diagonal. She had this look in her eyes, a little bit of a smile. I was going to use that as a thumbnail, but then, La Fiola or La Folia, she showed up, and I just had to use that. I just had to. But yeah, the black-haired angel gets dominated by Canon, and Canon actually starts to tear up a little bit and cry. Then she gets up and just flies off. So this isn't her doing. She's not just some crazy girl. She's being controlled or brainwashed or something. Maybe because of all the experiments, she just has these random urges to kill that she can't control, and the guys experimenting on her are able to channel those urges and make her take them out on Angel specifically. Who knows? We don't really know. We know that she's been experimented on. Okay, we learn that later on in the episode. We just don't know how exactly she's been experimented on and how those experiments have affected her, other than the fact that she's now killing all these other angel girls against her will, pretty much. But after this scene, we learn about Magus Craft. It's this company that manufactures industrial automata. And apparently, Canon's address is part of their company housing, and her father works for them. So Kojo and Himeragi decide to go there and talk to Canon to figure out what's going on. And they don't tell Natsuki because I think Kojo wanted to wait until they got more information or something, just to be safe. But they go to her building, and Canon and Kensei, her father, neither of them are home. And this demon comes out, this chick, and she introduces herself as Kensei's secretary, Beatrice Bassler. And it's the same chick from last episode, I'm pretty sure. You know, the look is a little bit different, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the same chick. It's, you know, same hair, same lipstick, you know, like the only same overall body type. Her body looks the same in terms of its shapes, and you get the you get the point. All right. The only thing that's really different are her eye color. It's her eye color, and that could easily be. I could go change my eye color right now and go get contacts or something. Not right now. But I don't have it. I don't wear glasses. I don't have contacts. But if I really wanted to, I could go buy contacts and change my eye color. You know, it's not hard. And this is a series where a freaking normal girl goes on the computer and her eyes glow red. I mean, I'm sure it's not hard to change your eye color. So this is definitely that chick from the last episode. But yeah, she ends up she actually refers to Himeragi as an attack mage. So I guess sword shaman are just a subset of attack mages. So that's cool to know. I think there was another hint towards that earlier in like an earlier episode. I don't remember, but I remember that. I don't think this is the first time I've brought up the fact that a sword shaman might be an attack mage too. Maybe Eustache Rudolph, I don't remember. But she says that Kensei and Canon actually are at this research facility on this island, and she says, you know, I can get you there. So she gets them a plane and sends them off there. And she has this smile on her face. It's clear she has ulterior motives for this. She's not doing this just to get them to the research facility so that they can get what they want. She's got ulterior motives. And when we get there, we figure out what those motives are. But before that, we need to focus on the actual plane ride, because we learned that Himeragi is afraid of flying, which led to a little bit of comedy and a little bit of development between her and Kojo. Though I don't really see a reason to. I don't really think the development really means much, because Himeragi and Kojo just don't look natural together. Asagi and Sayaka look more natural together with Kojo than her, so I would much rather cheer for Asagi and Sayaka than Himeragi. It just doesn't make sense for Himeragi to be with Kojo. Like, she's supposed to be the queen, his queen, according to the Lion King organization. But, I mean, she's supposed to observe him and be close to him all the time, but it just doesn't. The fact that it's her job to be close to him makes it that much more unnatural for them to end up together, because she's only with him because it's her job. You know, so I mean, obviously she's going to grow to have stronger feelings for him, but it doesn't change the fact that it's her job to be close to him. So it's all kind of feels fake and unnatural. But during this period of time on the plane, we hear this hypothesis that Kensei adopted Canon for the sole purpose of altering her and experimenting on her and turning her into this angel thing. or maybe that wasn't the actual goal. Maybe that was just what ended up happening, and he tried to make the best of it. We don't know. You know, post-it notes were an accident, so maybe this experimental cannon and the results of that were an accident too. Um, but eventually the plane does arrive on the island, and the guy abandons him and just leaves, and he says, "Hey, blame it on Beatrice. She told me to do this." All right. And Himeragi realizes that Beatrice is just trying to get Kojo off Itagami Island because he's the fourth progenitor and he can ruin things. So yeah, there is a little bit of comedy here because Kojo says that he says that the worst case scenario for them is to be he says that the worst case scenario is having to live with her on the island alone, and that it would suck. Right? And that's pretty much what he says, and he doesn't realize he says it that way in a way that would insult her, but he does end up saying it that way, and Miragi obviously gets angered by that. She starts breaking tree trunks. Not tree trunks, but tree branches. But yeah, that's one more side note. They found gun casings in the ground, so the island might not be as abandoned as they thought it was. It might not be as uninhabited. They were fresh too, so there was some gun fight battle relatively recently there. So it's not exactly a non-busy island. I don't even know what word to use because I'm too tired. It's stuff is happening on the island. It's not some island that's just been ignored for a while. But I hope we know that from the ending, from the way the episode ended. But after this, we actually switch over to Sayaka, and she's investigating the monastery, and Yaze shows up, and he tries to make this deal with her. However, he gets interrupted because Asagi and Nagisa show up. Okay, and this is when we learn that today in the episode is in fact Saturday. So Asagi's mad at Kojo for not meeting up with her for her art project. And that's not even the thing that she's mad about. She's mad because Saturday not only was when he was supposed to help her with her art project, but it was when he was supposed to tell her what it is that he's hiding from her. So that's the main reason why she's annoyed. Because if he did tell her, then he was going to, learn the answer to his question whether or not she really likes him, if the kiss meant anything. But they end up showing up, and Asagi and Sayaka meet, which that was pretty funny. Immediately, they just start arguing with each other. And Asagi called Sayaka that psycho woman who attacked Kojo on the roof, and Sayaka says, "Oh, you're Katsuki Kojo's fling." They just go at it. So that was pretty funny. And then we go back to Kojo with another scene that was really, really funny. This one was hilarious. Okay, he tried to get food he tried to catch some fish by electrocuting the water with Regulus' arm. That way the fish would be killed and they'd float up to the surface. But Regulus' arm is just too strong, so so it ends up causing all of this water to splash up, a bunch of it, and Kojo is soaked. And then it turns out that Himeragi was standing next to him, so she got soaked too. And one of the things I like about the comedy in Strike the Blood is that it's delayed comedy. It's not like we saw Himeragi walk up to him, and then right before the water splashed up, we didn't even know she was there. Then all of a sudden she comes out of nowhere, and she's wet. So I like the way they delay the comedy. But some more comedy that happened after this is that Himeragi made this coconut dinner, pretty much a bunch of stuff made using coconut, like soup, sashimi, just a bunch of stuff. And she asks Kojo if it's good, and he's reminded of this time where Nagisa cooked for him, and he got sick or something like that. So Himeragi hears that, she's like, "Well, seeing as though you're reminded of that situation at this particular point in time, I'm going to not ask why, because I would probably just be annoyed." And what she's getting at is obviously because She thinks that Kojo is saying that her cooking is gonna make him sick. And it turns out, no, that's not actually what he means. It's just that he's thinking of Nagisa. And at that point, he remembers that it's Saturday, and that he made that promise with Asagi. But it's right after this that Asagi finds Kojo and Himiragi. She sees she's using what's that thing's name? Mogwai? Mogwai? Yeah, Mogwai. She uses Mogwai and she finds camera footage of the last time Himiragi and Kojo were seen, which was when they were boarding the helicopter, the plane. And she finds out that they're at that research facility for Magi's craft. And through a series of events, she and Sayaka start arguing over, what their relationships with Kojo are. And Yase manages to stop them by mentioning the fact that Himiragi and Kojo are on an island together and could be doing different various things together, and they decide to call a truce. And this leads to Sayaka mentioning that her mission is to find Canon because the girl that she's supposed to be guarding wanted to meet her. However, the girl she's supposed to be guarding, the princess of Aldegear, ended up disappearing before she arrived on the island. And we learned that that princess is not the blonde girl, the blonde chick from earlier, Beatrice. So I was wrong about that. It's actually the other white-haired girl from the opening. The one with the long white hair. Lafolia Riave, or something along those lines. The last name, who knows how to pronounce that. That can be pronounced a bunch of different ways. But Kojo ends up meeting her, actually. In the middle of the night, he wakes up. He sees that Himiragi isn't there. So he gets up and starts looking for her. And Himiragi's bathing. We find that out in the preview for the next episode. But he ends up walking in and seeing the naked Lafolia, which, good for him. Though I'm sure he'll be a typical shonen protagonist, look away and cover his eyes. But yeah, that's how the episode ends. This episode, I really did enjoy it. I usually enjoy Strike the Blood, but it got an epic scene with Canon in the beginning when she was fighting that angel. We got information. Sayaka showed up, she met up with Asagi and Yaze. They've got a plan going. Well, they don't have a plan going, really, but they know where Kojo and Himiragi are. So, yeah, plus the princess got introduced this episode, so I'll give this episode an 8.5 out of 10. It was really good. And a lot of stuff happened, as usual. A lot of stuff always happens in Strike the Blood. But yeah, this episode gets an 8.5 out of 10, and that's it. It's 6:42 and I need to go to bed, so I'll see you guys later. Rate, comment, subscribe. See ya.